Welcome back, Toddler Tribe, to another episode of Transforming the Toddler Years. My guest today is here to talk about futurepreneurship. And if that gets your wheels turning, good. Listen in. Krystal, we're so excited you're here.
Cara, I am so excited to be on your podcast. I think what you're doing in this world is wonderful, and it's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was a childpreneur and didn't know it.
Yeah.
So, my first experience was being a 10-year-old at the farmer's market in our little village in Southern
Mhm.
Vermont with my little handwritten tags and my handmade friendship bracelets.
Yeah.
But nobody told me that
Yeah.
what I was doing wasn't more than just a craft.
Yeah.
What is entrepreneurship for littles, and why does it matter so much to you that they understand what this means from a young age and can make their own choices?
Yeah. Well, as well as all of your listeners know, that when you hold that little baby or you're raising that 2-year-old, what do you want for them in life? You want for them to be happy, and you want for them to provide value in this world, and there's lots of studies around happiness and what creates happiness. And ultimately, one of the biggest factors is autonomy, right? Some freedom of choice. And um, that comes with entrepreneurship. It just does. And I lived it. I'm an engineer by schooling. I worked in corporate America for almost 8 years. And I was probably, I wouldn't say clinically depressed, but I wasn't the happiest at the time. I didn't love getting up and going into work. Monday morning was a dread. Couldn't wait for Friday.
Mm.
And that was in my 20s. And entrepreneurship just changed my world. I mean, the world I live today, I have 3 young kids from 10 to 5. Um, and my life is so different because of entrepreneurship, right? So it gives me choice to be with my kids, to pick them up when they're sick, to stay home and
Mm.
cancel my appointments. I mean, that freedom, I've watched friends that don't have the life that I have
Yeah.
because of that. Money is incredible. I went through a few years of entrepreneurship with no money. We finally have money. And so the combination of freedom and money, if you just power through entrepreneurship, it'll change your life. And so when I look at my kids, what do I want what from them, right? And I own Futurepreneur, which I started this year. Along with that, at Futurepreneur, we're about a year old. We're
Mm.
coming up on a 1 year anniversary that we've been.
Congrats.
So it's been in my mind for 3 years, but it's now in the world this last year. We've got incredible feedback. I just got a great review. Um, I also own a large co-working space in Tucson, Arizona, 21,000 square feet. We've got over 100 members there, a lot of them entrepreneurs, some of them employees. And as I have this conversation with them, when did you start your business? Or if they work for someone else, do you enjoy what you do? And I like to have those types of conversation. And the one thing I get back is from entrepreneurs that started later in life is I wish I would have started earlier.
Mm.
In your early 20s is the best time, whether you go straight from high school or you go through a college program. You can probably live in your parents' couch if you need to, right? You don't have that mortgage, you don't have that those kids at home that you have to pay for. You don't have all this stuff because people that are in their 30s with families that are in a decent job, they feel stuck,
Mm.
and it weighs on them. So what can we do to give our kids that opportunity earlier in life? And that's how Futurepreneur was born.
It's amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, you're speaking to the kids, but you're speaking to me too, sister. Like this that was, I the idea of learning how not learning how, the idea of mentally becoming comfortable with
Yes.
not trading time for money anymore,
Mhm.
but trading my passion
Mhm.
for money
Mhm.
was hard. It was the
Mhm.
last piece before I could finally say to myself, "I'm doing this."
Yeah.
So what is it that makes it so hard for us 30 somethings? And I'll be honest, I was 40
Yeah.
something when I
Yeah.
really dove. Um, what makes it so hard for us to make that shift? Whereas when we work with kids and their mindset from a
Yeah.
younger age, it just becomes a natural evolution for them.
Yeah. Well, the 2 things. Number 1, their natural creativity is there, and their fear is very low. So my oldest child, when she first started, they're my beta testers, right? So she first
Yes.
so what we do is just really quick, we ship a bit like business in a box for kids. So they get to open their own mini bakery. They get to design and sell a little doghouse, right? And where they learn the trades. And every single one of our business teaches different skills in
Mm,
entrepreneurship and has different activities. So they get this idea of like, okay, I'm going to visualize something, I'm going to create it, I'm going to put some financial structure in it. Our goal is for them to make money at the end. So as my oldest daughter was going through our t-shirt design business, where you design and sell your first t-shirt, she would talk to everyone. Like, we were in a store shopping and she was wearing her shirt. She designed a little shirt that said summer fun with a fox and an ice cream cone,
mm,
and loved it. Right. And she was talking to the store owner about the store owner said, "Oh, what a cute shirt." She said, "I made it myself. Mommy, can you send her my store link?" Like, she's not scared to sell. She's just thinking someone complimented my shirt. She's going to buy it. So this low fear in kids,
mm.
this high creativity, if you can just foster and foster and foster and foster that, they will actually get kind of like you and I probably are, but we're addicted to creating something and
Yeah.
seeing it affect people, right? We love the value in creating, and we become addicted to success because of what it does. And that feeling of I've overcome this, or I've succeeded
Mm,
at this, or I touched someone's life because I did this, all of that we become addicted to, and you do as an entrepreneur. And so if we can get our kids, but there's lots of not good addictions out there like screen time and things like
mhm.
that, right? So if we can get them really craving that idea of like, I created this and I sold it and I made some money, right? You're going to find out a lot about kids. So I have three. My oldest is very money driven. She is
Mhm.
motivated by money. My second could care less if she makes money in a business. She just
That
opened
was
her
my
little
child.
bakery, and she just loved the way the cupcakes looked, to add the
Mhm.
cookies and the bread, and she just had so much fun doing it and being able to sell it, and she just brought joy, right? My oldest is like, "Let's succeed," right? So you could see the different personalities very early in a kid's life, but that's why, it's important for parents to go through this with their kids. They're gonna learn so much about them, and it teaches focus, it teaches grit, and it teaches purpose, right?
Mm.
Passion and purpose very, very early in life, and what more could you ask for?
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
that's what I love actually, is that you are taking what for them is a non-scary experience of creativity and expression and the belief that other people really wanna be part of it too,
Mhm,
and tying it to these essential personal development skills
mhm,
that allow them to grow throughout the year. So I wanna read a quote of yours
mhm,
that made me just say, "Yes, I need to have her on this show."
mhm,
"We're at a turning point in history. AI is taking over repetitive tasks, and the
mhm,
future belongs to those who can create, innovate, and solve problems.
mhm,
If we don't teach our kids how to think like entrepreneurs now, we risk leaving them unprepared for the
mhm,
world they
mhm,
inherit." And what really struck me by this was the
mhm,
think like entrepreneurs. Are they
mhm.
all going to become an entrepreneur? No, but
No,
that's not really the point, is it?
it's not, and AI is we know this, right? We're good. AI is coming whether we like it or not, so we've got to
Mhm.
use it to our advantage. And people are using it as tools, but it's moving faster than we are. So I graduated with an engineering degree, but I'm going to tell you, unless you're a top 3% programmer, unless you're a top 3% in STEM, AI is going to do it faster than you.
Mm,
Right? It's going to program faster than you. So a lot of this time, even if you're a lawyer, you get a law degree. Before it was print money, right? I'm a lawyer, I can charge whatever I want to. Now AI is doing a lot of the low end legal documents for you that you don't have to go pay that $200, $300 per hour fee. So unless you're really good at what you do, the skills that's going to propel people into leadership are really three things. I talked about them in that quote. It's funny that she took that one, but the grit, right? There's way too many college kids and out of college kids running out with lack of motivation.
right.
They are just consuming all day. They'll stay in their rooms and just sit with their smartphones, right?
Yeah.
So that idea of grit, and then innovation,
Mhm.
right? So you can call it problem solving, you can call it creativity, but that when I hit a dead end, am I going to just dwell on that and sit in that, or am I going to go out and find a solution? And right now in the world, we're churning out people that are very strong in their stance, whether it's political beliefs, religious beliefs, whatever it is, but they are not solution oriented. They
Right.
are just screaming about the problem, right? So this is another twist. So if you can, an entrepreneur is like, I have no fear. I'm going to go innovate. I'm going to create something, and I'll find a solution for that. So grit, innovation. Um, I just lost my third. Hold on one second. Um, Grit, innovation. I mean, it's like I talk about this all the time, and I just thought that it's going to come to me. But that idea of building that skill where it's almost a habit of
Mhm.
problem solving, right? It's almost a habit of creating. It's a habit of seeing the next thing and not getting swallowed up in a problem.
Yeah.
And that is a habit you can create as a kid, and you can watch those kids succeed. Oh, the other one is communication or influence.
Mm.
They have to be able to communicate, which is another problem right now with the early 20s, is communication is a little bit going away, but you can't lead a team, you can't lead a movement, you can't create a company, you can't do anything with that real connection, human human connection that causes people to do something, right? Whether it's
Yes.
sales or whatever. So those three things are really important to train, and you start early, and then hopefully you never lose them in this world of consumption.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
What's really interesting to me as I listen to you talk about the 20 somethings
Yes.
is, I'm a big person who runs around saying toddlers and teenagers are the same people. They're
Mhm.
just at different phases of their life. But our toddlers are experiencing exactly everything that you just talked about as
Mhm.
well, because they are spending a great majority of their life in front of a screen,
Mhm.
multiple different screens throughout the day, but it all adds up
Mhm.
to input, input, external
Mhm.
input. And so we are setting them up to become, and, during those first 3 to 5 years of
Yeah.
life is where 90% of the brain gets wired. So if
Mhm.
we're wiring these kids to believe that in order to do anything, to choose an action, to do a hard thing, they need somebody outside of them
Mhm.
telling them it must happen or how it happens.
Mhm.
We've gotta change what's going on here right now. So
Mhm.
you have your 3, and I'm gonna add one more that I love:
Mhm.
failing forward.
I look forward to it.
Every entrepreneur knows you don't nail it the first time.
No.
You have to be willing to say that didn't work, but that might.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that looking for a solution. I mean, I started 6 businesses in 5 years. I don't recommend it. It was kind of a crazy time in my life, and I've settled to 3, so I have 3 still going. But 3 of them didn't make sense to continue running. They failed. And one I kept for way too long. It drained way too many resources, time, money, never made a profit, and I just stayed too long. So the more that you can pivot,
Mm.
but if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have my number one business right now. That is the most successful, brings in the most money, right? So when we look at the toddler years, you have to really think about that. I'm sure you've had people on that's talked about screen time,
Oh,
but you've
yes.
got to okay, you've got to look at that as am I fostering creativity, or am I fostering consumers, right? Kids have to be bored. You have to let them be bored. They will come up with their own game. They will come up with their own play zone. They will make pretend we did it. We did it
Mhm.
growing up. We didn't have this. We played school. We set up houses and forts in the backyard. We were never in front of it. I was never in front of a TV.
Mm.
And and the unfortunate thing today is you can use technology and they're good. I'm not against technology, right? We
Same.
even have we're just about to launch one of our businesses that helps them create their own create a commercial or a piece of content for their favorite ice cream shop,
Mm.
and then go and try to
Cool.
sell this as an advertisement to the ice cream shop, right? So that's like a little mini business that we're creating, probably for like the 12 to 14-year-old range. But um, When they're young, are they consuming or are they creating? Just ask yourself multiple times a day, am I letting them consume right now or are they creating? And you've got to have more creation time than consumption. Schools don't help. My kids are in
No.
school. I'm not going to knock schools. I love teachers. I have teachers in my families, but schools don't help. They sit there and consume for 8 hours a day and regurgitate stuff, right? But what are they really creating? So your job at home from that 3 to 6 time that you have them is to get them creating, to
Yeah.
focus on creation, and it'll change. Failing is part of it, but that's you have some golden years. I call it the
Yeah.
golden years, and it's about the age of 6 to 13, 14. If you have a preteen, 13, 14, they start to look at other influences. So they're now, maybe they're on their devices, maybe they're looking at YouTube, maybe they're looking at these influencers or these TikTok videos, or all of a sudden they're not looking to you for all the answers and they're now looking at their friends, their peers externally. So most of your audience is in their toddler years, but as they come into 4, 5, 6, and they can start to comprehend stuff
Mhm.
and hold on to stuff. I mean, you're still learning a lot as a toddler. So keep creating as a toddler, get their hands dirty. But then as you get into those years, starting at 5, 6 years old, where they're starting to like put things together in their mind and really starting to problem solve, these are years where they look at you as parents as everything. You're
Yeah.
their hero, you're their biggest influence. Don't take those next 5 years for granted because their influencers are now going to go externally. And if you haven't laid that foundation in those 5 years, what's happening is they're losing their kids. And I'm watching
Yes.
it happen with cousins' kids right now where they're 14, 15 years old and they don't have any say. They don't have any influence on
Mm.
these kids because these kids now are looking externally for, validation, for
Yeah.
learning stuff. And so don't waste that time. It's
You're
important.
you're absolutely right.
Mhm,
The span of early childhood education from the teacher's perspective is birth
mhm,
to 8 years old.
mhm.
And then that autonomy really starts to kick in, and it's supposed to. So
It's
when you and I hit that 8 to 12, 8 to 13-year-old phase, we were searching for other influences,
Mhm,
but they were in our physical
mhm,
world circle,
mhm,
and we had a trusted, reliable, if we were blessed and lucky, I
mhm,
was,
mhm,
relationship with our parents in
mhm,
order so they could help me process some of
mhm,
that stuff. And I
mhm,
remember when our girls were little and somebody said to me, well, you got 5 years to put in everything you want them to know. Then you send them to kindergarten and it's over because they're going to listen to all those other kids. They're going to listen to like the world starts
mhm,
influencing them. And I
mhm,
said, it's not over.
mhm,
It's just beginning
mhm,
if you use those first 5 years properly.
mhm. Oh, very true. Very true. And I think that the battle right now with both parents is, um, do you make your kid happy or do you
Hmm.
follow what's in
Right.
your what you know to be right, right? Because my oldest is turning 10 on Thursday, and she said, "For Christmas, Mommy, I want a cell phone," because her friends are getting cell phones. And I just said right away, "Not until 16, honey." I mean, they'll stop asking. We have
Yeah.
iPads at home. We use them in the car. We just went on a road trip, right? So for a break, you can have the iPad. They know as soon as they get home, iPads go in the closet. No questions because if I want to see what they're watching. So I let them have some TV screen time here and there. Um, they're pretty busy with sports, so we don't have a
Yeah.
lot of time for it. But on the weekends, and I get it, they wake up, they eat breakfast, they want to watch a few things. We have time limits, but I can see what they're seeing. Those iPads are so dangerous
Yeah.
because they get addicted. But if you take them away at the age before 10, 11, 12, if you take them away, typically within 3 days, they're not asking for them anymore. It's they're gone, right? And you've probably seen.
Yes.
I mean, your kids probably only had TV until what, high school?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and even then, we were of well, I had one kid that was tech averse. She didn't care, didn't wanna know anything
yeah,
about it, so That was what it was.
Yeah.
We gave her a phone at 16 when she got her license
Mhm.
because we wanted her, when she was driving to school, to have it for emergencies, and she
Yeah.
literally cried because she didn't want it. Because so
Oh,
she's a weirdo, and I love her to pieces.
I love it.
Um, the other one was interested,
Yeah.
and we said at that point, the iPod Touch
Mhm.
was coming out,
Mhm.
and we said, "We're not buying this for you.
Mhm.
If this is something that you want in your life, you will earn it
Earn it.
by
Good for
going and
you.
getting a job, and we will, like, figure out how much you have to make over the course of a summer." So there was that delayed gratification
Mhm.
and that intrinsic motivation and, like,
Mhm.
all the things that matter.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
bought it for herself, and then we
Mhm.
said, "Great, this only attaches to Wi-Fi, which means
Mhm.
you can only use it here at home."
Mhm. Yeah.
So we knew all these things going into it, but yes, I feel very blessed to have raised kids in a time where those choices were
Mhm.
not quite as heavy as they are for parents now.
Mhm.
My cautionary tale, I did, some episodes on this recently, is that I rarely ever see infants, yes, infants, and toddlers in a cart at the grocery store or any store for that matter, without an iPhone in their hand
No.
because their parent just wants to be able to focus on what they're doing. And I mean, I think you'll agree with me when I say those communications, those conversations are such incredible opportunities for teaching your children how to look, how to listen, how to be a thinker, how to wonder things and
Yeah.
involve them in your what you're shopping, whatever you're doing. So if you walk away from this section of this episode with anything, and you're somebody who tends to just by habit, by rote at this point, put your kid in a cart and put a phone in their hand, stop and think next time and
Mhm.
ask yourself what Crystal said. Am I raising a creator or a consumer?
Mhm. Yep, exactly, exactly, and the interesting it I have you've talked to a lot of parents, but I've talked to a lot of parents. I'm getting a lot of feedback right now, so I'm calling almost everyone that I can get a hold of that have
Mhm.
bought our kit, and I said, are you bumping into anything?" And I get really great reviews, but if they give me feedback, they said they hit this point in the business where maybe it wasn't fun anymore, and then I had to, like, get them to push through. And I said, "Congratulations." And the people that never finished the Futurepreneur or their kids didn't make money from it, I asked them why, and they were like, "Oh, we hit this point and then we got so busy." Like, they're all think is so busy. And I'm like, "You are not you are doing a disservice to your kid because you're not teaching them grit and follow through."
Yeah.
My kids don't quit. You can't I start them in swim team. They don't like it. Too bad. Like, we've gotta finish the season. Next year, we'll reevaluate whether we're doing it or not, but
Mhm.
you've gotta finish the season. You don't quit. So we are raising people that are just quitting, right? And my parents never didn't let me quit, right? It's a weird generation because although I believe in balance and I believe in happiness and doing what makes your heart joy, that doesn't mean quitting. You've got to finish, you've got to complete. So we have
Yes.
this weird balance going on do I want happiness? Because my kids are not happy. Well, they were not happy last summer doing swim team. They were like, we have to go again. Now by the end, and they got better and they got some ribbons, right? And then they were like, okay, we made progress. And they were okay with it. They made friends. But in the middle of the season, if you asked them if you like swim team, they would have said no, right? But we taught grit. We taught
Mhm.
finish. We taught you're part of a team. You've got to finish what you've started. And it's so important. And now they don't even ask. They know that if they get into something, they may not like it in the middle. And I'll
Yes.
say, and they're like, I know, mama, we have to finish the season. Like they just
Yes.
know. So you just teach it that said, that's right. Do you know why we finished the season? Because we're part of a team and we're a team player and we've got to do our part, right? And you've
Yeah.
got to teach these things. And it's only you. So if they're sitting on an iPhone, if they're consuming, if they're in front of a TV, they're not learning those important topics. You have so much power to change the next generation as a parent
Mhm.
that get bold. They're not going to love you every day, but my kids still love me. They say, "Mom, you're the most strict parent." And I say, "Do I say yes most of the time or do I say no most of the time?" "Well, you say yes most of the time, but you said no to candy the other day." I'm like, "It's because we had sweets. Like we can't have too many sweets, honey, because then that's when you have meltdown." So why do most parents give their toddlers iPhones? Because they're afraid of the meltdown, because they're
Yeah,
afraid of, right? But it's because they know that if they melt down, you wanna keep them busy. They got this figured out. They're smarter than us. They are smarter than us, right? They have very
absolutely.
limit they know how to get what they want. That's all they worry about all day, right? They don't have
Mhm.
bills to worry about. They don't have other stuff to worry about. They're like, how do I get what I want?" If that's the candy, if that's the iPhone, whatever
Yeah.
it is, and they will work that system. And if you're aware of it, you're gonna see that happening.
Mhm.
Um, so but eventually, once they know, no means no,
Yeah.
right? Then they stop asking because they know they're not gonna get it. So it's only painful as a parent, it's only a couple meltdowns of them saying, "I want the iPhone," and you
Yeah.
not giving it to them before they don't even ask for it, okay? So it's probably 3 to 5. Know the meltdowns are coming, you know what's happening, but then stick to your guns, and all of a sudden it doesn't
Yeah.
happen anymore, and you can watch it over and over again. There's a great book called Value Creation Kid.
Mm,
Scott Donnell is one of the there's it's co-authored, but Scott Donnell is one of the authors. He's coming in and speaking at our first Futurepreneur event in Tucson in February. Um,
nice.
but he talks a lot about the healthy struggle kids need to go through. And he's raising 4 kids, so he's in it.
Yes.
And I always love to listen to parents who have done it or are doing it, that are doing it successful.
Yeah,
And it really is that. It's really the healthy struggle kids need to go through to create value kids. And that's what we want out of our kids, right? We want happiness and value. So sometimes that grit's got to happen. Sometimes those
that's
meltdowns have
right.
to happen, but stick to your guns, create with
Mhm.
your kid, and you'll have a great outcome.
Meltdowns are a very appropriate part of early childhood. They're
Mhm.
part of the developmental system that is how they're connecting, how their brain, how their body, and how their soul are all working
Mhm.
together.
Mhm.
And that is something that parents don't really know. I shout it from the rooftops, but I'm only one person, right? So we
Mhm.
we really need to get that message out. Like you
Mhm.
see the meltdowns coming and you're like, "Oh, there's learning happening here on the other side of this."
Mhm. It's not I'm a bad
Okay.
parent. It's not I'm
No.
a bad parent. No,
No. Yeah.
it's a normal thing. What
Yeah.
how do you this is just me asking for
Yeah.
having a 5-year-old. How do you teach parents to handle that meltdown state?
Well, first of all, recognize it for what it is, that it is a
Mhm.
state of being. It is an emotional moment for kids. They're on a nervous system roller coaster in that moment. And so that's why I said the learning happens after
Mhm.
the meltdown. It cannot happen during.
Mhm.
So you connect deeply and you get those really trusted relationship moments with
Mhm.
your kids when you allow them to
Mhm.
express how they're feeling. It's okay that you are angry that you didn't get candy today. The answer is
Mhm.
still no.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could that's how you handle a meltdown and you
Yeah.
allow it. On the other side is where you can have the conversations that help them. So I have this incredible I have another amazing episode coming out relatively soon with Joanna Hardis, who wrote a book that talks about distress tolerance.
Mhm.
And for parents, the trick really is to do less in order to raise kids who can do more.
Yes.
And so being able to sit you, the parent, being able to sit inside the distress of your child currently having a
Mhm.
meltdown is a
Mhm.
skill that you need to be working on
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that your child feels free to express their emotions,
Mhm.
knowing it's energy in motion. It's going to come out. They don't last forever. In fact,
Mhm.
science tells us 90 seconds. If
Mhm.
we allow people, not just kids, people,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
feel their feelings for 90 seconds,
Mhm.
the brain will automatically start the process of decreasing that bad feeling
Mhm.
and bringing us back to our natural state.
Mhm.
90 seconds
Mhm.
is an attention span
Mhm.
that people don't have anymore.
Mhm.
And so the idea
Very
of
true.
sitting in anything for 90 seconds without escalating yourself
Mhm.
or seeking a solution to
Mhm.
help yourself feel better that is only
Mhm.
going to help you feel worse. It
Mhm.
it's that instant gratification nervous system need. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, this 90 seconds matters. So that's how I talk to parents around this, and it really is about you. It's not about them.
Yeah, and I love that because you're speaking to toddler parents, but you can say the same thing for teenage parents, just like you said, right? You
Mhm.
can say I mean, I have a 10-year-old
Yes.
and every kid's so different. So my 10-year-old had a really rough year last year, and I
Mm.
knew she was just going through a growth phase. She was out of school. She's now in a Montessori school, which is her style learning.
Yeah.
She's a kid that I never had a lot of anxiety as a kid. So, but my husband did, and
Mm.
so I just remember kind of being in a bubble. I think my family called me an airhead, right? But I was always happy, because kind of like do my own thing. And if these friends were mean, I would just go over and play with these friends. Like I don't remember it really affecting me. My
Yeah.
husband, on the other hand, he stuttered as a kid, and so he grew up in kind of getting bullied. And
Yeah.
everyone would read in class. The teachers would have everyone read in class, and they would skip him. But I'm
Oh.
telling you, my husband today is an incredible. He's in sales. He designs and sells swimming pools. Like he designs people's backyards. He's a creator. He People trust him. He's an excellent communicator, and he says. So my daughter's going through a tough phase, and he said, "Krystal, she's okay. I went through it. I'm
Yes.
fine." And me, I'm like, we got to pull her from the school. We've got to do, and I'm like, I'm not a quitter, but I'm like, but they're not helping her, right? And we ended up switching schools for a few different reasons, but the Montessori style school a little bit feeds her, um, just brings down the anxiety level in her because
Mhm.
her problem was if she's sitting in a classroom staring and then all of a sudden she has to like answer something
Yeah.
and she starts to panic and then she's in panic mode instead of in listening mode. So she'd come home and I'd be like, well, how did the teacher teach this, or and she was like, I don't know. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't think she's listening in class, right? She probably would have been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD. I don't know what they would have, but we didn't have her tested. We just Someone had talked to us about this Montessori style, and we switched and put her in Montessori style.
Mhm.
I love Montessori because it's more project-based learning, which is all about entrepreneur. Like
Yep.
that's my jam, right? And my other
Right.
kids are actually in a Christian school, a very traditional Christian school, covenant Christian, very traditional learning. They're still learning Latin. They're still learning cursive, So they're in that. So I have two very different styles, but for those kids, it's perfect. So
Yeah.
every kid's so different and learning it. And those tantrums and those how they handle emotions, those are all I'm learning my kid, right? So
Yes.
last year she's going through this and I watch her going through this and it kills me that she's going through this because I would pick her up from school and she's just the light is drained out of her.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, but in this Montessori school, she comes home, mommy, this was the best day ever. And I don't think other kids appreciate what that environment that they've created for these kids as much
Mhm.
as she does because she had this other experience.
Absolutely.
So you can pivot for your kids, but and she wanted to leave early in that school year, and I said, "We're gonna stick this year out,
Yeah.
okay? And we're gonna team. You and mommy are gonna team up." Now we battled more than we teamed because there was a lot of homework at that school. So we battled more than we teamed, but our relationship now is closer than it's ever been. She hugs me at night. She's the only kid that's like, "I love you, mama." Mama was high. She said this to me one day, and I wonder. I don't even know why she said this. She must be getting this from school. But she said, "Mommy, was I hard today?" And I said, "No, honey." I said, "You're rarely hard. The only thing that was hard today is when it was bedtime and it was time to brush your teeth, and I had to say it 5 times. So 5 times, let's go brush our teeth, 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 let's go brush our teeth. That's hard. But I mean, we weren't yelling, but it's fine.
Mhm.
I like look at her, Liviana, fifth time, it's time to brush our teeth, right? And I'm very stern at that moment, and
Mm.
she's in it. So that's why she asked me that. But just that she's now reflecting, am I being hard in this,
Mhm.
or am I like she now knows, am I helping the environment or am I hurting? Am I of value or am I a liability, right? In her little brain,
Yeah.
which is all part of growing. It's all part of the learning process, right?
It is.
Yeah. So
You know, what I want everyone to take away from what you just said,
Mhm, mhm,
and the science backs this up,
mhm.
Dysregulated kids are literally on a neuroscience level unavailable to learn.
Mhm.
They are unavailable to learn,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's just the truth.
Mhm.
Regulated kids, their prefrontal cortex gets the dopamine hits it needs as opposed to those cortisol shots that their subconscious was
Mhm.
getting, right?
Mhm.
So finding the space where your child feels safe
Mhm.
physically and emotionally to
Mhm.
regulate will
Mhm.
open up the whole next world. And that's why I get so frustrated when in those infant and toddler and preschool years, the
Mhm.
focus is on learning, it's on cognition, it's on,
Mhm.
can you tell me what color this is? And
Mhm.
are you able to sing the alphabet song? None of that actually matters
Mhm.
and will come very organically if
Mhm.
what you feed is their core identity. I know
Mhm.
who I am, I know
Mhm.
how I learn. That really, really is
Mhm.
key. And it sounds like what you've done, and somehow this is kind of a magic box, is you have created these kits
Mhm.
that allow kids to explore that
Mhm.
without actually requiring that it becomes their life's success plan. And
Mhm.
I love that because the exploration is where the identity learning comes in. I am someone who finishes things even when they're hard. I
Mhm.
am someone who comes up with great ideas
Mhm.
when my brother is really good at doing the idea. You
Mhm.
know, like I'm the idea guy, he's the implementer.
Yep.
They're learning who they are and how
Mhm.
they interact with others
Mhm.
and what success looks and feels like for them. So I just want to say thank you because with all the you're clearly an idea gal with all the
Mhm.
ideas that come and all the businesses that you say, well, I have another solution to another problem.
Yeah.
But the fact that you followed through on this one and it is really going to take root, is going to
Mhm.
change so many young
Mhm.
belief systems and so many young and it's gonna build young
Mhm.
minds.
Mhm.
So can you share with us once again the
Mhm.
name of the company and a gift that you have for our listeners,
Yeah.
and, maybe just, like, 2 kits, one for the younger and one for the
Mhm.
older,
Mhm.
and then we'll wrap.
Yeah, perfect. So Futurepreneur is the name of the company. It was born because I was looking for entrepreneurship activities for my kids as they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Mhm,
And there was nothing out there. There was stuff for high school, but nothing for that sweet age that I wanted, right? So we did their businesses in a box. They come with a business plan and some tools to help them get started. For youngers, I'm going to give you two. If your kids are very hands on and like to build, they like Legos, we have a builder box that goes to the different trades. And with it comes a birdhouse kit.
mhm.
So you get to talk about the different trades. We do have video modules that walk them through the kit. So if you are a busy mom and dad and you do need help to get them through this business, it takes about 6 to 8 hours for each kit, but span that over a month. Not bad. And then they learn to kind of build this birdhouse and design it for sales and then price it and sell it, right? They're probably gonna sell to grandma or grandpa and make $25 and they're gonna be thrilled. So you take them to Target, let them spend it. Um, for the older kids, I really like the design and sell a t-shirt because they can really come up with anything that they want to do. I would say our biggest selling kit right now is our manufacturing kit. We walk them through the manufacturing process. We recommend like a hands-on manufacturing, like a slime or a Play-Doh. But we've had kids manufacture all sorts of different things, candles, soaps, really unique personality, natural lotions and stuff, and they manufacture their own stuff. But we teach them how to like batch and mark up their products, a little bit more financially driven on the manufacturing kit. But they get everything they need to start these businesses. We do have a freebie. If you go to freekidbiz.com, we get you started with the lemonade stand. The something that lots of kids want to do, and
Yes?
I did as a kid, and kids ask for. But instead of just buying the stuff and popping up your lemonade stand, and they get to sell for 1 day. This free kit will give you about 6 activities that they get to learn. So we teach them how to pre-market their lemonade stand. We teach them how to pick the right location, all the things that go into a successful setup of a business, how to pre-plan your budget, how to price out your product. Um, so we teach all of that. So it'll just help them. It'll help you have more activities than just a lemonade stand one afternoon. That keeps them busy and keeps them learning all the skills that you should learn in lemonade stand. So freekidbiz.com will get you that free lemonade stand blueprint. You can download it today and
Amazing.
follow us. We're getting ready to do a software that's going to be a kids marketplace, a safe way that kids can sell. We're going to market this. We're going to market this marketplace. There's lots of things we're going to do in the next 2 to 3 years. That our goal is just as kids enter high school, they start to maybe narrow down. So we show them
Mm.
all these businesses. You'll learn what their interests are, what their strengths are, and then as they get to high school, maybe they start testing one of those and going deeper on a business, and then college. I don't know your view on college, but depending on what interests they are, um, for me, unless my kid is going to school to be a doctor or, something that really takes a lot of education, if they're just going because the next step is to go to college, I would
Mhm.
rather invest in their first startup than invest $100,000 for them for college for 4 years. So that's just me. I think they'd learn a lot more that way anyway. So really think about that later in life, which you can after Futurepreneur. But this gets them started. Hopefully, in the high school phase, they'll narrow down to really what their skill set is, and then after high school, they get to choose. Right? Do I start a business now? Do I grind it out, or do I do 4 more years in college? That's up to you. That's up to them.
Mhm.
But and it's such a fun activity and
Aw.
spending time with your kids. So, start with the freebie, order
Mhm.
a kit, and enjoy it. And we want to hear all your stories. So send us some feedback.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, the future of work is changing,
Mhm.
and the future of education that leads to that work is also shifting.
Yep.
So, just like everything else in life, knowing who your child is and how they engage with the world is really the first step. So explore that. This is so fun. Crystal,
Thank
thank you so
you.
much for taking time to share your views, your philosophies, your family, and your business with us today.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you, Toddler Tribe, you know exactly what to do. This time I'm going to change it up for you just a little bit. Go get Crystal's freebie, then stay mindful and proactive as we transform the toddler years.